Hey, good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. Yep, we're here. Thankful that we're here. How you doing today? Everything good? Yep. Lot to talk about, a lot of ground to cover. We got a two-fisted show for you today. First off, we're going to talk about this recall election situation jumping off out there in California. You know, Larry Elder all over the airwaves, you know, the other guys, the rich guy from wherever he's from that has a pet bear, and the mayor of San Diego, and then the little dude from, he's already in the state legislature, big political brainiac. It's really a trip, right? You know. So, while we're thinking about this whole thing, it is important if you're in California to get out there and, respond to those ballots that are hitting your mailbox even now. And you know how I do it. I just reach out to get me some experts, some folks who know what the heck they're talking about. And so I reached out. The Honorable Jan Perry is here. Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for taking time out to chop it up with us about this here recall election. Man, we just finished the whole season. You must have been on Coffee Conversations about 15 times to help us through the presidential election and the local elections and all that. And here we are just a mere few months later. Now here you're asking us to come back to the ballot again. Why is that?
Well, when people don't like something, then they try to find another doorway in or out. And as much as we don't like it, a recall process is an option. It's an expensive option, and it involves state resources, public resources, taxpayer resources to be able to put on this recall election. And so, it's unfortunate because there would have been a re-election next year. But I guess they couldn't wait.
They couldn't wait. I see that. It's really interesting. I think on one hand, one would think, wow, that's a difficult place to be in the governor's seat in a pandemic, and all of the social justice, all the stuff that's happened in the last few years. I'm sure a governor would not plan to have to govern in such a strenuous time. But at the same time, there's enough folks out there who are blaming him for all the things that they perceive to be wrong in the state. For us, just the everyday Joe voter, what the heck? What do we say to this? I mean, how do you think the people should respond?
Well, I vote no. That's the quickest response. Vote no. One and done. Just vote no. Mail in your ballot. There's no reason not to vote. It's so easy. I voted right away. I made sure my daughter voted right away. We put the ballots in the mailbox, and I think within 48 hours I had received a text that my ballot had been received. And I felt very confident and comfortable, and that my ballot was safe, and that I didn't have to worry. My vote will be counted.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Now, so for folks who aren't checking their mailboxes and everything like that, so we got the ballot in the mail, and then it asked a question: should you? What? How does the question go? It's asking, do you want a recall?
Yeah, and there's a box that says no or yes. Vote no on the recall if you don't believe in it. Don't vote no on the recall if you don't believe in it, if you don't think it's right. Now, the next question is there's a list of, I don't even know how many other candidates there are on the ballot. I usually don't talk about how I actually voted.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I voted no on the recall, and I was done.
That's right.
Okay.
Right. All right. So look, our friend Larry Elder, the sage of South Central, how does he raise enough money to be the so-called front runner? I mean, I didn't see that one coming at all. I don't know why, but I just didn't see that one at all.
If you understand the way that this recall system is designed, he just needs to get the greatest number of votes, or the plurality of the votes. If God forbid the recall passed and he had the greatest number of votes, then he would win. Someone in that situation could actually win with less votes than what was cast in the recall. This is why it's so important that for those who believe that no on the recall should pass, they better vote and vote and vote and get your friends to vote. Take everybody to vote. Mail in your ballot.
So, it's easy. I think it's kind of easy for people in the community to take it for granted. And what I'm hearing from you, and then last week we had Councilman or Vice Mayor Rex Richardson from Long Beach on, and he was expressing the same thing. We really cannot take this ballot for granted. I mean, I know we're tired, we've been burnt out, we're hearing voting this, voting that, but we really need to exercise our right on this one, or things could go wrong unintentionally.
Yeah, and if you don't have a ballot in the mail, you can vote on election day, but it's much better to go and mail it in now, because since almost everything is vote by mail, there are fewer polling places. There are options to vote, and you'll have to look online. The best place to look online would be the Los Angeles County Elections Division, or vote.net.
Vote.net. Yeah, we put that in the chat.
And see what your options are. But the easiest option is to fill it out at home and mail it in.
Now, then there's those who want to know, okay, what's the beef from your seat, like from your perspective? Why are folks mad at Governor Newsom? I mean, what the heck?
I don't know if it's mad at Governor Newsom. I think people are angry, furious, tired. The lockdown coming out of COVID, the impact on the economy, the explosion of people living on the street,
yes.
The insecurity, the anxiety overall, all of that, and the fires, and the air quality, and in a world of politics, it's always easy to maybe focus your anger, your ire on one person. I mean, for me, having been in politics for many, 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 many years, I know, it didn't happen overnight. And, you sound the alarm bell 10, 20 years ago, and then it comes to fruition in somebody else's term. Now, there will always be missteps along the way. And, this situation when he went to the restaurant during the pandemic was sort of like, here, kick me, that didn't have to happen. And
he did that.
Yeah. And, people in politics, they have to be mindful of that. And, sometimes people make mistakes. And, somebody will always come along and step into that breach and tear that mistake wide open. But yeah, there's a lot of anger. I mean, during the lockdown, when people had to stop working, there's a lot of anger about the Employment Development Department.
Yes.
That's still to be resolved, but it can't be fixed by somebody who, has no government experience and is speaking in rhetoric and tropes and catchy sayings.
Yeah.
It won't be fixed by that person.
He said, "Don't vote for the other, vote for the brother." I got a kick out of that one.
I don't know. We're talking about your life and my life, the quality of our lives in this state of California. So, that kind of mess is not funny to me,
Right. Yeah. For sure. All right. Yeah, okay. Let me just switch over to, since I have you here today, I see the mayor is going over to be the ambassador in India or some far flung place there. What's next for the city mayorship? Will we see a Mayor Jan Perry?
No, too
All
expensive.
right.
Tried that,
Okay.
and that's a $6 million haul.
Mm,
This mayor has to be confirmed by the Senate
mm-hmm,
before he can move forward. And I think once you see the Senate confirmation hearings, then you'll have a better sense of the timeline. Without doing anything, if the mayor leaves, the president of the city council automatically becomes the acting mayor. I was the acting mayor 5 times during my term as council person when the mayor and the president of the city council were both out of town. So that could happen no matter what, or the council could decide to, appoint someone,
mm-hmm,
or the council could decide, probably unlikely since the mayor is termed out by the end of next year anyway, to
mm-hmm.
hold a special election. But again, that's spending money you probably don't need to or have to spend.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when you were the mayor. You presided over the funeral of Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that was a big day. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I remember that. Yes, yes. Wow, well, really something. Well, you know what, Jan Perry, I know you got to get going here, got a busy schedule. Thank you for planting the seeds to the people about, this recall situation. We'll have to have you back in the next coming weeks. We'll plan a little better so we can really dissect these issues that are before us. There's a lot in front of us. Any last words you want to say to the people other than fill out that ballot and get it in?
Vote
Yeah.
and get it now, so you don't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's
One
what's
and
up.
all right.
All right. Thank you so much, Jan Perry. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay. All right. All right. All right, y'all. There you have it. The Honorable Jan Perry. You know what it is. Friends in high places. That's what's up.
Let's see.
I am. All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what's up. Thank you so much to Jan Perry. I mean, we got to get out there and vote. You got to get out there and get that ballot out of your mailbox and get it in. And just say no to the recall is what the recommendation thus far. Everybody we talk to, that's what they're saying. No to the recall. That's what we got to do. All right, back to the business at hand here. You know how it is. We're working and exploring the arts community on today, and we're very excited that on this Saturday at Dream Creator Studio in the East Village Arts District of Long Beach, California, we are having a photo exhibit of an emerging young artist. This young woman's work is so phenomenal, so impactful. The art that she manifests through the lens of her camera is exceptional, you guys. And so we're doing a showing right here at the Dream Creator Studio, East Village Arts District, as part of the East Village Arts District Block Party. As we emerge from the pandemic, the neighborhood here in downtown Long Beach, we want to invigorate the businesses. We want to invite you down to this area to partake in the restaurants, visit the galleries. There's a lot of galleries around, sip some wine at the little wine shops and all of that, and go into the dress shops, the shoe shops. There's all kinds of shops around here. And it's a really cool part of Long Beach, just a couple of blocks away from the shoreline. And we're out here. For us at Dream Creator Studio, we are just really, really excited to bring you the work of this young emerging artist. And I invited her to come in this morning, just kind of chop it up with me, sip some coffee, have some casual talk. There she is, Rejana V. Black. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you? I'm doing all right. How are you today?
I'm okay. My computer's been giving me a hassle as always with this, telecommunication, but we're good.
That's right. Good, good, good. Okay. Well, it's great to see your lovely face this morning, Nate. Did you hear any of the talk about the recall?
I did.
Okay,
And I can agree with Jan Perry. Yeah. Vote no.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Get all your friends. Let them know. Vote no on the recall. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, Rejana V. Black, I met you this year, and I'm going to tell you that, I have learned every time I intersect with you, I learn more and more about you and your consciousness. And I'm just very, very impressed. You are inducted into my family. I got you.
Yay!
Good, good. So this Saturday we'll be presenting your work, and you shared with me the name of your exhibit is Intergen. And I've been not wrestling, but just contemplating that word. I'm kind of that kind of guy where I take words and I just really contemplate their essence. What does that mean when you speak that word into the universe? Intergenerational, what does that mean? And what does it mean as we apply it to the essence of the struggle of our communities? What do you hope to express? What are you expressing in Intergen 2.0?
That's a great question. And intergenerational, for those who don't know me or my work, it's my first real series that came out of college at Cal State Long Beach, and it focuses on multi-generational trauma within our African American community, and the study of epigenetics, which is gene expression from alteration or modification in one's life. So our genes can change just from our experiences, just from our trauma, and that will carry. So that has been my focus in my work for the past 3 years now, to somehow visually articulate that in photography. And so the way I've done it is through projections on the body. And I usually use myself, or I use other subjects that are Black to express this trauma that we all carry unconsciously. And at first, the 2019 work is very dark and heavy because it has images of lynchings and police brutality and some racist language on my and my subjects' bodies. And then for Intergen 2.0, it became more of a focus towards healing through a positive focus instead, and trying to understand that we have that and we carry that, but also to turn it around and just now focus on our joy and our humanity, and still have that be discussed with the positive imagery alongside the negative.
All right, I'm going to try to bring up on the screen an example of what you just described, and once I get it up here, you can share with the people what it do. Oh shoot, I see you got a 2-shot there. All right,
Yeah,
a little bit artistic.
My computer, but I have the work too now. If I can share it with you on my computer, so that way.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is really exciting because, as we move through this time of self-reflection, I mean, we are really, really in a space of self-reflection, especially in this country. Not only the social justice systems and circumstances that we see, but we're under the burden of a pandemic. We don't know what to think from time to time. As you know, we were just talking about the recall happening. There's a lot on our heads out here in these here streets, and to see such a deeply profound expression through art is it's really something to me. So what happens for you, Regina? Do you get a flash from the Almighty that, okay, this is the message, the imaging that I want to create? Or do you sit and contemplate and it comes to you? What's the process in the spiritual realm of how you come about your art?
Spiritually, yeah, I do believe that I'm led by God and spirit, to speak on these things, because it was just very quick, these ideas that started coming, and they just started being flooded into my consciousness, where it was like, all right, I need to move, I need to honor these people. And spiritually, I'm so grateful you brought this up, because the work that I was projecting all these archival images, they were 100 years old. They were literally from 1919.
Wow.
So that struck a chord with me, and this was right before George Floyd. So this was December of 2019 that I showed this work, and I wanted to discuss it. And I was just so infuriated, and just like I felt like their spirits were trying to like be remembered again. They were trying to like, there's moments where I do feel like the people that I project onto my body, their spirit is still with us and they still want justice. And that's the best way for me to explain it, because not many Americans know or want to talk about this history, even though it's 100 years old. And that's so young. Like, we have people that are 100 years old. We have people that are in their 90s. So people know what I'm talking about when it comes to lynch photography, and how these images of our brothers and sisters that were murdered in cold blood in public, these were public events that people, who we're talking about when I say people would attend these, and they would take
it's a spectator sport, right?
It was a big thing. And so it was like disgusting to learn of all this information and to know that we carry all this. That when I showed my work to my father, he immediately knew. He's like, "Oh, that's a lynch mob." So these are the stories we have to have with our family members, and not other Americans have to deal with this history, or they want to remember it. And so I'm trying to honor these people that 100 years ago were in the same position as George Floyd in my eyes. And I just see now, it's like, if we carry the same trauma, then I without a doubt know that the racist Americans we have in this country, they also genetically carry that racist perspective and hate. And if we can't acknowledge that we all carry unconsciously these things, then how are we going to move forward? Because we need to correct these things that unconsciously arise through us.
Well, so you know what? So that speaks to this whole discussion about the critical race theory, right? So there's a lot of people who I know a couple of weeks ago, we talked to the president of the Texas State NAACP, and we talked about, the assault on voting rights in the state of Texas. And we talked about the fact that the Texas legislature voted against teaching any type of criticism of race, any analysis of racism, any criticism of white supremacy, Ku Klux Klan, thus and so, just a total rejection of critical race theory. And this is, there's this very vigorous debate across the country on whether or not we should we should talk about this or teach it in our schools and our institutions of higher learning. And, for me, I mean, why not teach it? Because it happened. And like you're saying right here, we have the photographs, right? It's like, it happened,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very weird that's happening, because at the same time, they're trying to recall that we finally got it passed in California that it's mandatory for college students to have at least one course of ethnic studies. So that's very interesting, depending on where you are and where you live, what you're being exposed to, because I had to learn all this in college myself. Of course, we get little bits, we get the civil rights, we get slavery and all that, but when I had to do my own research and look in, it's insane to see how many, like, we think of just the names that have been killed by police the past 50 years. If we go 100 years, it's so much more. And then when people try to like dumb this down or say this is all old, we don't need to talk about it, it's like, what are you talking about? We see the results from then to today. Like, it really just infuriated me when George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, amongst all the others last year, it's like it was just 100 years. even 1920, Red Hot Summer. These were events that took place. So why is it that it's 100 years now? Why is it that Texas doesn't want to like teach this stuff? Because it's important, and it's eerie. It's eerie in this country right now, spiritually speaking.
All right, so then I go to an exhibit of Rejana V Black and I see all of these images. What is your blessed hope that I walk away from one of your exhibits? What do you hope to impart to me or to everyday Joe Blow that comes to see your work?
I want for them to leave not disappointed or defeated. I want them to know they have this power to correct their generational trauma. This is something that we all carry. All creeds and races have some form of generational trauma. Okay. I studied from reading from Dr. Eduardo Duran, who studies it in the American Indian communities and how they have their own generational trauma. And he refers to it as the soul wound. So it's just a reminder that we're not alone in this. Whatever we carry, whether it's mental illness, whether it's trauma, a genetic disease that got carried down through your line, this is something we can change if we're conscious of it through mindfulness, just through taking care of ourselves. This is really a exposition about self-care and honoring our ancestry at the same time. And so this new work is more focused on joy and just being human and just living our lives pretty much against all of this combating us. And so there's the older work that is more heavy, but then I have this new work where hopefully it just gives you a sense of catharticism. That's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah. You know, since I've met you and then the brother Jose Angel Castro, I'm really feeling the word mindfulness. You know, I've been kind of running that through my body, through my essence. And, you know, with so much going on out here in these streets, I mean, it's an assault on our psyche, you know, not only the social justice and racism that we face, but just, you know, there's violence in the streets, there's situations in government, there's every day that, you know, we don't know if we're going to be exposed to the COVID virus or whatever. There's just a lot going on, and mindfulness is a very active word for me as we try to take care of ourselves, you know, and remain centered. What do you do for mindfulness? What's your center?
My center, I would have to say it's through creativity and just through movement. I love to do yoga. I love to dance in my house by myself. And those are the times where I can really just be free and release all of that pent up aggression and frustration that I carry from doing all this research.
Now, do you find other students, you know, your peers, are they just as mindful as you of what's going on in our streets?
It depends on who you're talking to, I think, because there's those that don't want to talk about it, don't want to acknowledge it, don't want to pay it, like give any energy to it, right? That's the best way to say it. And then there's those that will have conversations, but they're not, you know, they're not those kind of like, we need to do this. And it's like, okay, so we see that there's a problem. We see. And I just think that's because the institution I came from, it was predominantly white. Of course, it's diverse. You know, Cal State Long Beach is amazing, but Black students are still one of the very small minorities on the population of the campus. So it seems for me the past year, it came off like this is our problem and not their problem, if that makes sense. But they'll discuss it and they might show support. I did have friends that, contacted me last year during the summer to see how my well-being was, which I appreciated. There was those that were also just trying to learn and know how to like react. And then I had quite a few that were very fearful and ignorant, which was interesting to like realize that people you work with, people that you live near, they can have such a different perspective of how everything's going on. Like I had some coworkers from Huntington Beach contact me because they were fearful of their lives being attacked just because of the protests going on in Orange County. And I really had to explain to them, like, no one's coming after you, baby girl. Like, no one's gonna take your house down or anything like that. This is just the media trying to brainwash you into thinking this is something other than us just being upset and grieving.
Isn't that something? People are living in fear. I mean, you walk in public spaces, you can see it. And for me, I mean, I think a lot of people are already living in fear when they see us coming. But at the same time, I guess sometimes now it does seem a little bit more, pronounced and everything. And wow, what a powerful emotion to be carrying around, fear.
Yeah.
Nobody coming after you. We just try to get our rights.
Did you not see what happened? Like,
right. All right. And see if you can put up your imagery right there. Can you put that one up there so we can see?
I'm on the other camera. Do I have to take this one off?
I'll put it up. I see it in here. I'll put it up right now. You ready?
Yeah,
go ahead and share it.
Okay.
Let's see. See, there it is. Look at you. Two screens.
I feel so honored. Thank you.
Okay.
Here we go. Let me know if you can see it.
Okay, hold on.
You might have to share it, Greg. I'm sorry. Chrome's giving me a hard time.
All right, here I have one here. This one is here, let me give you this other. Okay, this one here is the Holocaust picture. Let me see. Okay, let me share that one. The Holocaust of enslavement.
Yes.
All right. So, this one is pretty deep for me. I'm just like, man. I mean, I guess the first question that I would have is what happens for you to see this in your consciousness? Like, how does that come to you? How does this image come to you? And then just break it down for us.
Okay. This came to my consciousness in 2019 during my documentary photography class. And I was struggling with how to capture intergenerational trauma. And I swear, I feel like, excuse me. That's my mom's phone. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Mom checking in on her baby. That's good.
Hey, sorry about that.
That's all right.
But, yeah, so this came about in my documentary photography class, and I wanted to show intergenerational trauma. And this was one of the prime images that came to my head. And I just saw it clear as day that it made the most sense of all of these years of trauma through our family histories, through our family lineages. Like I said, it was only just 100 years ago we had the lynch mobs. So this is like, only 300 years ago, if not 400 years ago, where we had the transatlantic trade. And so I thought this would be the most clearest way to show this trauma in our DNA by having the blueprints of the slave ship and how they inhumanely placed us And if one were to go closer to this image, you would see, there's feet to heads, butts to right next to your ears. It's really just discussing how they even put us to carry us over here. And to think, this was just my easiest way to show my family history in a way, by showing this slave ship on top of my then at the time boyfriend's bodies.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. You just brought a remembrance here for me. Somewhere out there in the community is a replica of a slave ship. I think that was Mr. Peoples had the slave ship, and I'm gonna have to see. I know he's passed away now, and may he rest in peace. Very strong advocate for reparations. And so, Molly Bell, if you're listening this morning, if you happen to catch this broadcast, contact me. Let me see how I can bring the slave ship out here to Long Beach. Maybe we can get it out here in time for the for the photo exhibit, because I know they have the little, it's a replica, and then they have the little bodies inside, packed just like how you have it here on this image. Yeah. Wow. All right. So let's talk about the genetic progression because that fascinates me when you said that. So now this trauma, you're saying this trauma affects our DNA into today. Express to me what you mean by that.
Well, if you see the typing, the language on the image, right over our necks, it says in backwards, post-traumatic slave disorder. And I'm so grateful for having conversations with Jose Angel, because he really turned me on to Dr. Joy Degree. And she's this amazing Black woman who founded this term of post-traumatic slave syndrome. So it's very close to like PTSD, but this is something just like multi-generational trauma. It's the same thing. It's just the name for our community, and how just from those instances from our ancestors experiencing slavery, it has seeped down unconsciously where, let's say, the Black people don't swim. That could be one of the traits that had been carried from maybe our brothers and sisters jumping over the slave ship, trying to free themselves from bondage. And that could carry over, down to today, where people don't want to get in the ocean. People don't want to swim. That could even go from the 1950s when it was segregated. And, we had our brothers and sisters having their own pools and wanting to go into the white pools. That it could be that, and being attacked. And now there's this like unconscious trigger with water. That's the most easiest one. But if anyone looks her up, Dr. Joy Degree, DEGRUY, there's some amazing examples she uses in her own videos on YouTube, where there's one where she very eloquently explains it as like, let's say, a mother is kind of like talking a little smack about her son, even though he's getting praise from like a teacher or from another parent. That could be, even though we all understand it, it's just a joke. And she very well is very proud of her son. She says that unconsciously because hundreds of years ago, if a slave owner had said some praiseworthy things about her child, that could entail that they're going to sell her child. So she has to say things that are negative to her child, which now we say this like it's like a joke, but before it was very serious business. So there's things that we say or do even now, like with how Black men have to have this like extra shield on them every time y'all walk outside. It's that, like, that is now the modern way of looking at it, and now think of all of our children, even the ones that haven't come to this earth yet, that all of our brothers that are having this sense of fear once they walk out the door we're now genetically altering that, so our future children will have that same fear. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not like babbling.
It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now culturally speaking, when we have all of these images that stimulate, I'm just gonna call it genetic modification. Would you say when you look at today's music and the imagery of young Black men and women, is the behavior that maybe my generation will look at and say, okay, that's really, really bad? Or, I mean, to be honest with you, and I'm a industry veteran, I believe in free speech and all of that. So let me just give that disclaimer before I say what I'm about to say. But, sometimes the imagery that we have is very backwards. I mean, we look like, maybe we're over sexualized, we're looking, the thug life is, although it exists out here in urban life, no question, but, that is what is celebrated and put out front when we look at our global image as Black people. Are we affecting our are we modifying our genes with this type of imagery that the system, the matrix, is putting out there about us?
I think so. And I think that's a great conversation to be discussed further, because I started looking into, the minstrel shows that were happening 100 years ago, and it's interesting to learn of that history and to know that there was actual Black actors that did minstrels themselves and would, do the blackface thing. And it's like, and to think now how that could it's like, I see what you're saying as like the minstrel's baby, or like grandbaby, and if you will, because I do see it as the white man's entertainment. Absolutely. It's like back then it was very, clear they wanted us to be their jesters and their fools, and now it's the same thing, it's the same connotation, but now the jesters and fools are the thugs and the sluts, or the hoes. And it's just another example to give the white man of like how low we are when we're not. It's just, this is what we've been brainwashed to think is entertainment, to think is fun to portray these personas. Even though you and I know these personas are very well real in our community, but they're not us at the same time. Like, this is what we have to deal with. This is what a majority of our people are surrounded by, unfortunately, or have to go into, because that's what we think we know, or that's the easiest way to get paid without having to deal or jump through all these ropes of racism. We'd rather just go this way because that's what's the most glamorized.
Right. Wow. It's very, very powerful and interesting to think about this stuff, because images and arts and everything. I mean, it's, you and I were talking about the other day, and I was sharing with you how I witnessed the explosion of hip hop from the beginning, right? And so, the gangster rap, it's almost like the Matrix embraced the gangster rap and lifted that up from where it was and put that out front to share with the world, just to say, see, this is how they are, generally speaking. And while, the gangster rap certainly has its place, it has a voice, it is what it is, it is a part of our life in America. But at the same time, I feel like, it has its place, but the Matrix has lifted that up and put that first and foremost before consciousness in that whole world of rap. And that's what you see, that's what you're seeing is the mainstream white folks wanting to show the world that we are, just animals and criminals. What's the alternative? How do we overcome that? Because that's a powerful statement.
It is. And, we were discussing this, how even in the Constitution, we weren't even considered human beings. So when you realize it and you just pay attention to history, you know, when you're non-black, you see the connections and how it's still the same thing. It's the same program that they've been starting since they founded this country. It's they want to make us lesser than who we are, and that's not the case. So I've had this same question grappling in my head, and my professors would say, just ignore them. Just don't give it any more attention. Just don't give it any more energy to it. And I understand, because it just wastes my energy. It just depletes me to focus on all of this stuff, because it isn't. They have the information. They can learn themselves. I'm getting that now. We don't got to teach them everything. We don't got to spoon feed them. But at the same time, I feel like it is our responsibility to know our history, to really know it, so that we could use it as our weaponry, and not like, you know, on a violent way. I'm saying on a revolutionary conscious scale of, you know, but it's an individual responsibility at the same time. It's collective and individual, because, you know, I can get off this interview with you right now and go listen to some like really thug rap. Right. And what am I doing? Right. I'm feeding into that. At the same, like, I love that music. You know, I love, because they have, you know, grit, and, you know, we have amazing beats. We have amazing percussion and production alongside the dark lyrics, you know, but it is an individual responsibility to say, okay, well, who do I not listen to that I should be listening to more? You know, like A Tribe Called Quest, or, you know, Public Enemy, or Lauryn Hill. These are just some of the ones that already came before us that have tried to pave that way of higher consciousness in our community. So it's like, study that now. Study those musicians, those artists that speak on these things. And there's so, like, even Jaden Smith, I love him, and Willow. They are doing so much with their music. And if you listen to their lyrics, they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to raise our consciousness to be more focused on spirituality, on well-being, on just positivity, instead of what I have to deal with in the streets. I think that's my best like answer to that.
What's your thoughts on the baby? He's under fire, you know. He made his little remarks or whatever, and folks are lighting him up here. What are your thoughts?
I feel like we're going backwards in a way. Like, I really do feel like we're going backwards. I think COVID and just being under lockdown, we just needed anything to feel good. Not saying he's not a great artist, you know, he's cool, but at the same time, I know the question you're asking, it's like, well, why is he like number one right now, you know? And it's because white people like it for some reason, you know. They even though they want to talk about it, it's like they're the ones soaking all of this up, like, oh, you know, the gangster, the grills, the bling, the booty shaking and all that. Like, I don't know. For him, I'm not that, like, I'm not a big fan. I don't like listen to him all the time. He's got interesting lyrics. So I wish that wasn't the only thing that was being played right now on the radio. I could say that.
He's getting a lot of spins, boy. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's definitely taking over.
Wow. Here, let's look at another piece of your work here. I got another one here that I found. Let me just share the screen. Let's see. This one here is Cabal. All right. This one's from I guess this one's from when you were in the port photo exercise there. First of all, explain how the Port of Long Beach, you know, has this photo exhibit thing. And super producer Rhonda Love was a participant in that at one point in time, where they went out into the harbor and shot all these photos of the ships and everything. And it was way cool. Did a big exhibit at the port building, the brand new port building downtown Long Beach. Now, you're an alumnus of the port photo exhibit. Tell the people what that's about, and then explain to us what we're seeing on the screen.
Yes, absolutely. 2017, I was blessed to take part of this program that the port offers to Long Beach photographers, no matter what range you are in your career level. It could be from amateur to very master professional. But a group of photographers are taking on a boat ride through the port, and it's a few days. So the first day you get actually some tutorials of photography from a photographer that they bring on, and it's usually their photographer for the port, so they get to explain their career and how they provide photography for the port and where their abilities and talents go to use there. And then we are taking on a Saturday usually to the port on this really cool boat. If you've never been on a boat before, that was like my first time. And you get to take pictures of the port from midday to all the way towards the early evening. So that's really cool. I really appreciated that you get the day and the nighttime photography advantage. And then you are able to submit 3 works that you took during the little tour to the program, and then they decide which one they think is the best, and you then get to be part of an exhibition. And I was able to have my group exhibition at the Long Beach Museum of Art in 2017 for October, for Arts Month. And this work is from this year, actually, and this is the new work from Intergen 2.0 that I was happy to share with Port Photo when they wanted to highlight my being an alumnus. And this one is, I believe it's Golden Crown.
Okay.
But this one is what I was speaking on about the positivity, but still speaking a little bit about the intergenerational trauma without it being so in your face. Mm-hmm. So this one's more abstract in that way, but it's more pro-Black, positive joy.
I see a big afro in there.
Make me feel good.
Mm-hmm. I see a big afro in there. I see, who's that? Is that Angela Davis? Who is that in that photo?
That it was actually taken from a 1970s hair ad.
Yeah, that's good. Good
that's
stuff.
A beautiful model. I don't know her name, and yeah, I see how you can see her though.
Yeah. Good stuff. This is really, really, really good stuff. Wow, incredible. Now, when you okay, so the end game here in intergeneration 2.0, Intergen 2.0 is that we want to walk out of this exhibit feeling inspired and ready to take on these dark times that we're in, but we have a light inside of us, light and love. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. And we're of our powerful people.
Yeah.
Yes. At the same time where we have this dark history, the projection is of an African queen. So it's also to remind ourselves we come from royalty, we come from wealth, we come from greatness at the same time. While we carry all of this trauma, we also need to remember that there is royalty in our blood. And we don't know our history. So there's many of us who could be really, related to a king, a prince, a queen. And that was taken away from us to know that, on paper, but in our hearts, we know, and without me getting too emotional, that's where my work is turning to now. It's honoring both the trauma and our resilience.
Resilience. Wow, what a great word, resilience. Isn't that something? Wow, I'm just admiring this piece of art here. All right, so now you coming down to the East Village Arts District Dream Creator Studio. We're celebrating the East Village Arts District Block Party, y'all. So all of the businesses in our community, we're stepping out. Hey, we've been locked up for more than a year now, and we're trying to emerge and revitalize our communities. That doesn't leave out the East Village Arts District. That's what we're doing here. And Dream Creator, while we're not a retail store, we're, it is a real production facility here. We do turn our little hallway at our building into an art gallery. We do this on Art Walk. We do this now for the block party. And we are so happy to feature the works, the genius of the works from the young Rejana V Black. I mean, you can see the stuff that we just showed you too. There'll be a lot more when you come down on this Saturday from 11 to 5. We'll be here. Got some music for you from Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. Okay, have some coffee. You know, we import coffee from Cameroon, West Africa, so you'll be able to sample the coffee and learn about the origins. And, you know, we're just going to go deep cultural. Your visuals will be stimulated by the intellectual expressions of young Rejana Black. Your taste buds will be stimulated by the global Pan-African taste of coffee from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll walk out of here inspired and ready to go. Mindfulness, that's what we're doing. Mindful, why not? Just have a cup of coffee, chop it up with us, look at all these great visuals. That's mindfulness. That's what I say. What do you think about that, Rejana?
Yeah, just be here now, you know, as the late and great Ram Dass would say, like, just be present. And I am more than honored to partake in any conversations that we'll be having on Saturday. So thank you again, Greg, for having me and for being able to allow me to show and talk about this work. It's very important to me. I'm so grateful.
You know, let's chat a little bit about the Arts Council for Long Beach. I know you're an intern over there, and then you're also part of a program that's really cool called Go Make Something. And I know that one part of this experience that we're going to have on Saturday, we want to build awareness, ignite more awareness of the Go Make Something project. And I know, you know, just give us the headlines of what Go Make Something is about, what we hope to accomplish through that. And, you know, what all you photographers, come on down, sign up, figure it out. You know, talk a little bit about Go Make Something, Rejana.
Yeah, it was created by Jose Angel Castro and Cynthia Lujan, who is the public art manager from Arts Council of Long Beach. And they have been so amazing with this program that launched in May of this year, where it was led through with workshops and interviews of myself and other Black creatives in Long Beach. And it's just around the 4 crises we all experienced, which Jose calls it the convergence of financial, economic, environmental, and social crises that we all experienced, and how Go Make Something is inspiring anyone. You don't have to be a creative. That's the purpose of this program too. It's just to inspire anyone to make something creatively. And that can be anything. It doesn't have to be artsy. It could be cooking a new meal, learning a new dance, knitting, anything, gardening, just going out and doing something and being present. And that is not only being creative, but it's also being mindful. And we're trying to publish this book that would be very central to Long Beach and Long Beach artists, specifically Black artists, because we are trying to focus in on their experience, since we were the ones that experienced quite a deal this past year, and getting their experiences from all these different 4 perspectives. So hopefully we would have photographers share any of their work that they've made this past year, that was their release, was their therapy, whether it could be documentary, it could be anything of that sort. It's just something that you made that we would love to have in this book. And my goal is to have this book within the libraries of Long Beach, and as well as the institution libraries like Cal State Long Beach and LBCC, so that we have this resource, this archive of our history now for future students to look back on and be proud of.
Now, you know, is there a contact there might be a photographer that may not be able to make it on Saturday, but certainly want to get involved with this. So just send them to the website, artslb.org.
I would definitely go to artslb.org to find out more information. We have a Go Make Something page, and I believe you can submit. We do have open calls right now through I believe you can access them on the Instagram at artslb. And if anyone else, you can always contact me or just contact artslb directly through Instagram. They're very happy to help point you in the right direction of where to submit your work.
Awesome. All right. So Regina, how do we get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me at Rejana_Violet on Instagram, or if you want to just check out my work, my website is rejeanavblack.com.
All right, that's what's up. It's right there in the chat, y'all. I hope you guys can come out and see and experience the photographic expressions of Rejana V Black. I mean, she's got a bunch of stuff out there that would actually just blow your mind. I'm just looking at it online, and I see stuff on the artslb.org. I see things when I just Google her, and I'm just blown away by the little thumbnails I see online. I can't wait to see it live and in person on this Saturday. Looking forward to it. And y'all need to really get up on that Go Make Something program. The more I learn about this, the more I'm like, dang, this is really, really, really something. And I've been telling a lot of my photographer friends, about it, who are here in the Long Beach areas. There's some very accomplished photographers out there who had no idea that, this was going on. And so we got to get out there and shake these trees and let the people know, hey, just be a part of this, because they have the images, right? They've been documenting and expressing their art through these strenuous times that we're in, but they were not aware, I should say, of an outlet like the Arts Council for Long Beach in order to get their expressions. Now, you as an artist, how has the Arts Council helped you?
Oh my goodness. I was like those photographers that didn't know anything. And through getting introduced to Cynthia Lujan, I've just been so blessed to really get to learn more about the Arts Council. And man, they have shared my work, which I'm so grateful for. That was like the first anyone outside of school to really say like, oh, this is something important. And for that, I will forever be grateful, because as an artist, you try to submit your work to anyone, anywhere, and just try to get some kind of feedback from somebody. And I was very, just earlier this year, I was very distraught. I wasn't motivated. I didn't feel like, I had anyone. And the Arts Council is so supportive for the artists in Long Beach. They are amazing with their funding, with their grants. I haven't been a grantee, but just to learn that they have grants for artists, and to know that I can share this with my art friends who may need it, or, they're also curating shows now. And they have a wonderful artist registry, which I had signed up for when I barely knew about them. Cal State Long Beach mentions Arts Council, but you don't know that much. You have to find out yourself. And I put my thing on, and they let me have, my little profile on the registry. And I felt like, hey, I'm recognized here. I'm recognized as an actual artist,
Yeah.
And they really do that. They recognize all the living artists here, all the past artists too. And they just provide excellent resources and opportunities. And I just hope everyone that is an artist or recognizes as a creative, they get their stuff on the registry just to have it there. Because anyone can see that and contact you for business, collaboration. And I think that's wonderful that we have this interconnection of networking.
I met a sister who was a fantastic abstract artist, and she was selling her paintings on the street corner right here in the East Village Arts District. I was like, hey, do you know about the Arts Council? And she had never heard of the Arts Council for Long Beach and everything. And she's now on that artist registry that you described. And I we did a similar showing here at the Dream Creator Studio featuring her work. And it was really, really great. Very well received, and exposed her work to a lot of people who otherwise would not have been exposed to it, right? And so I think that's what you're saying, is it gives an opportunity for artists to be seen, to artists to be heard. And there's all these resources out there. This is great stuff. All right. Well, shoot. Intergen 2.0. That's a t-shirt. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. Any last things you want to say to the people? Before we go, let me just say this. Make sure you vote, Rejana. Get your ballot. Tell all of your friends. This is very, very important. Now, you've recognized all of the trauma that we're having and everything. And what would you say to your peers that may be watching this right now about the importance of voting? What's your voting message?
I've had a few heavy conversations about voting this past year, and I understand. Many of us think that it doesn't matter, but it actually does matter. And then to think about our history and all of our brothers and sisters who fought to have the right to vote, our power is in our voice. And if that means just knocking off a little check in the ballot, that is still your voice. And you need to remember that, because this matrix, this society will try to brainwash us and make us think that voting isn't important. I was one of those people. That's probably why Bernie wasn't in office, because I didn't vote. So, I think about these things. Like, if you really care about where you live, we have, city, county, and state level. So it's not just the president. And I think that's one thing my peers, we haven't understood, because we weren't really taught this in high school. They should really teach voting literacy in schools so that we can be prepared, because there's been plenty of times when I'm going in and I don't know who I'm voting for, or I don't know what they represent or their background. And that's just as bad as not voting, I think. If you don't know and you're just checking away, I think we need to inform ourselves and vote, and we will be heard.
All right, y'all. You heard it from the young people. Inform yourself, vote. Inform yourself, vote. That's what we got to do. All right, this Saturday, it is Intergen 2.0 at the Dream Creator Studio. We're located in the East Village Arts District. Just come on down. Come on and celebrate with this community. There's a lot of great shops in my immediate area here, but, we're going to showcase the photographic expressions of Rejana V. Black. And really, really excited about that. We're going to sample some coffee from Africa. We're going to hear some great music. So come on through. Saturday, we'll be here from 11 to 5 all day long. Just take a few minutes. Come on through and check us out. And you're going to learn something about the Arts LB, Arts Council for Long Beach. Go Make Something program. And there's just a lot to do. Just come on through. Spend part of your Saturday with us. Rejana, thank you so much for spending time with me this morning.
Thank you, Greg. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have conversations with you. Thank you.
Yes. All right, y'all. Look, love one another. Thursday, we're going to be talking to, I can't remember who it is, but you're going to continue to hear this voice about the recall. We're kind of just dissecting that whole issue. And so we're going to have a few guests. We're expecting people from the California State NAACP. We're expecting people from the Black Women's Voting Organizations, California Black Media Network, just a lot of voices there, touch points across the state to reinforce the importance of this recall effort, whether you're for it or not. We're not really telling you how to vote, not at all. We're really just explaining to you the importance, because you know what? If you ignore it, things can happen that are probably not in our favor. So, one way or another, just participate in the process. I know it's a hassle, but you're going to hear a lot more and be informed through Coffee Conversations with Greg J. I know we got our eyes also on the pandemic. They're talking about it's resurging, the rumors of boosters and this all every day you get up in the morning, pandemic stuff. So next Tuesday, we're going to have Dr. Anissa Davis, the chief, the chief health officer at the Long Beach Department of Health, to come in and talk to us about the pandemic and what's going on. Give us some information, give us some insight so that we can be properly informed as we keep hearing the news about increased cases and all the stuff that we're hearing. Got Dr. Anissa Davis coming on. All right, I think I've covered everything. Just remember, love one another, love one another. Look, love one another. Peace and blessings.